immigration questions as we possibly can. So that way we can get as much information out there about changes or just about things within immigration that people have questions about. My name is Mercer Cawley. I'm one of the partners here at Cawley Forsyth, and I'm also a board specialist, immigration specialist here in North Carolina. And I'm joined today by attorney Raquel. So Raquel.
Hi, I'm Raquel Fernandez, and I'm an associate attorney here at Cawley Forsyth, and we're excited to be able to answer all your immigration questions today. Thank you to Hector for sharing the live and for everyone who's leaving their likes and sharing this video. We want to be able to reach as many people as possible.
Absolutely. And I was stating earlier on TikTok, the reason why we're doing this is we just have a motivation. We want to change people's lives. Best way to do that is give them information. Information is power. And so we feel like this is a great way to make sure that people know their rights, is to take this time and to get as much immigration information out there as we possibly can. So whether you're on Facebook, on TikTok, either one, go ahead and put your questions in and we'll begin to answer them.
Yep. And I want to say hello to Juliana, who says, hola, God bless you guys. God bless you too. Hola to 40C32. Hola to Lillian as well. Hello, hello. Thank you guys for leaving your comments as well. Even if you don't have an immigration question, you guys can go ahead and leave your hello, and you can let us know where you're watching from as well, because we know that we have viewers from all over the world. So it's very to get to know you guys as well.
Absolutely. Yes, it's and because it's immigration and it's federal, we're able to help people all over the world. So a lot of times lawyers can only help people in their state, but because it's federal law, we have clients in as far away as Hawaii, Alaska, within the United States, and outside the United States. We help people there as well. So regardless of where you are, we're able to assist with immigration.
Yep. And we have our first question here today. And this person asks or states, I came to the U.S. when I was 16 and I waited in line at the border. Within a month, I applied for asylum, and this was about 4 years ago. So now he's married to a U.S. citizen. His asylum is still pending after 4 years, but he's not sure which process he should do. There should be adjustment of status, or if he would have to go to an interview abroad for a consular interview.
Sure. So anytime if you enter the United States without a visa, which that's what it sounds like you're talking about, at that point, the only way that you're going to be able to get the green card is by consular processing, which means that you would have to leave the United States to go through an interview. Now, you also would have a situation where, because you're here and out of status for a while, you would have a 10-year bar. And so with the 10-year bar, you would need a waiver. Fortunately, you can get a waiver through a U.S. citizen spouse. So that is available to you. But that would be one of the ways that would work. Now, what I would recommend doing is give us a call and we can set up a consultation to see how strong your asylum case is. If you have a strong asylum case, that is something you can always look at. But if you need to consular process through your wife, we can walk you through all of that.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting question as well. So if you do want to set up a consultation, you can give us a call. The phone number is listed right over here on CF Immigration's page, but I'll say it out loud as well. It's 704-522-6363. And like we said, it is free initial consultation, so that way we can ask some follow-up questions and see what the better process is for you.
Absolutely.
And we also, I don't think this is a question, but Como Talibu says, my I-130 petition was approved 3 days ago, so that's amazing.
Congratulations.
That's the first step in the immigrant petition, so I really hope that, you'll be able to move on to the next step there.
And it looks like Fernando was asking a question, but all it says is that that the spouse was a resident. So if that's the first question that we're still dealing with, that can also work with a resident. It's just with a resident, You still would have to go outside the United States. You still need a waiver. It's just with the resident, it takes longer because you do have to wait for a visa to be available when it's a resident, as opposed to being a U.S. citizen.
And we also have a question here. This is from a U.S. citizen who wants to petition for his girlfriend. So he's trying to figure out what's the better option, whether it would be the K visa or if they should get married first and then do a different process.
Sure, that's a great question. And we talk about this a lot with different people. Few different things come in. One, is she is your fiance in the United States or outside the United States? That's where we start first. If your fiance is inside the United States and entered with a visa, then you probably want to go ahead and look at getting married and doing everything to adjust status here in the U.S. If your fiance is outside the United States, then either process can work. The fiance visa itself is probably going to be a little bit faster than getting married and then going through the process of getting the immigrant visa. But at the same time, if you do the process with the K visa, when you get here, there's another step to adjust status. So it really depends on what you're looking to do. If you're looking to get somebody, your fiance here as fast as possible and they're outside the United States, then it probably would be the fiance visa. Keep in mind with the fiance visa that you actually had to physically see your fiance in the last 2 years. That's one of the requirements for a fiance visa.
And we also have a question here from JC Marie Lippe, and she asks, how many months does the appeal take, the I-290B, the processing time for that? How long does that take?
Sure, and part of that's going to depend on which process that you're looking to do, but the actual 290B is taking a long time right now. So we're seeing it take up to 2 years to get an answer on an appeal through a 290B. Depending on your situation, we have actually advised clients it might be better just to refile than it would be to go through the appeal process. So it depends on, obviously, the circumstance of your case, what the facts are, how strong your appeal is, but that's something to consider as well. But 290B, you're probably looking at 2 years.
And we also have a question here. You have one over there?
Yeah, I have one is talking about waiting in line to see a judge. Can I apply for a work permit? So it's possible. If what you're saying is you're waiting in line to see a judge and you have a pending asylum case, after your asylum application, you actually have to have the application and it has to be filed. But after it's been pending with the judge for 180 days, yes, you can request a work authorization card. Now, just because you're waiting to see a judge doesn't mean you can apply for a work authorization. You have to have an application of some sort. So whether that is for asylum, whether that is for what's called cancellation of removal, and that's a 42B is that form. So if you have one of these forms and that's pending in front of a judge, then yes, there is a possibility you are able to get a work authorization, but not just because you're waiting to see a judge. There has to be an application behind it.
And we have a question here, very broad question. Actually, this one, he's asking how much does it cost to apply for an I-130? So the government fees are $535. As far as legal fees, we would need to do a consultation in order to determine what the process would be like for you, who's petitioning for whom, and to see if there are any complications in this case. We need to see first and foremost if the person qualifies. So you can give us a call for a free initial consultation, and that way we'll be able to discuss more details with you.
And Roxy Ramirez has a question in Spanish. So if you could just let her know that we'll be glad to answer that on Friday, and that the entire show on Friday is in Spanish, so that we'll be able to answer all of those questions.
Of course. So Roxy, si se puede unir con nosotros el viernes a las 12 del mediodía, ahí tenemos los en vivos en español. O si quiere, puede venir aquí a mí en vivo y ponerlo y traducir si entiende el inglés.
Absolutely. And if you want to, you can go ahead and give us the question, and Raquel will hold it over for Jordan on Friday.
Yes. And we have one here. Someone asks, they crossed the border illegally and they have 2 U.S.-born adult sons. Is there any possibility for him to become legal?
So a U.S. citizen child can file for a parent. The problem is if you entered the United States without a visa, then that can create a problem because, like I was saying before, you're going to need a waiver. When you leave the United States, that starts a 10-year bar, and there are waivers available. Unfortunately, the relationship between a child and a parent is not one of the relationships that allows waivers. So you can get a waiver through a spouse, through a parent, but you cannot get that type of waiver through a child. So because of that, you're going to run into difficulty when it comes time to consular process and come back in, unless you have a different qualifying relative. So again, we've done this before, where a child is filed for a parent because it's faster, because it's an immediate relative, but they also have a parent that is a permanent resident. So they can have the child file for them, and then they can have their parent be part of the waiver process. But if you entered without a visa, you're going to have both processes, both the immigrant visa process and the waiver process, to make everything work.
Yep, and unfortunately, that's the case for a lot of people who we've spoken to. They do have U.S. citizen children, but unfortunately, they don't have a qualifying relative for the waiver. Hopefully, you do have a qualifying relative, and if you'd like to speak to us for a free consultation, we can determine whether that's the case.
Sure. Another thing that just popped in my head also is, if you have an adult child that's a U.S. citizen and they're part of the military, then that can create another situation where you can do everything in the United States. There's something called a military parole in place, where if you have a member of the military that's a close family member, you can apply to get a document that's like a parole, which is permission to come into the United States. And at that point, once you have that parole, then you could do everything here in the U.S. and obtain a green card through a child. But again, if you enter without a visa, the only way that's going to work is through some type of parole in place. And the most obvious one is military.
Yep. And the other option would also be a U visa if you've ever been the victim of a crime. That's something that we also ask in consultations. Or potentially you may qualify for a T visa, which is for human trafficking. If you've been brought over to work or you've been forced into labor, that may be an option for you.
Great points. Absolutely. Those can help you as well.
And we also have a question here from GI125, and he is wondering if after 6 years of being in the U.S., you can obtain your residence. So based on your time in the country, is there a way to become a permanent resident?
Based on time alone, there's not a way to become a permanent resident, no. Now, there are some defenses if you are put in front of an immigration judge. At that point, you've heard me speak a little bit earlier about something called cancellation of removal. With cancellation of removal, if you've been here for 10 years, then you can make an argument to the judge that they should grant you a green card if you can prove that it's going to be an exceptional and extremely unusual hardship to a family member. But just being here for 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, that by itself does not lead to a green card right now. It's possible that Congress may pass some laws that change that. They have done that in the past with different amnesty laws. But right now, the way it stands, just being here for 6 years, 10 years, like I was saying, that by itself does not lead to you being able to get a green card or become a permanent resident. He's getting big, so.
There he is.
So this is him. This is Wagyu. And if you saw him the first week that we got him, he was about half this size. So, so as you can see, he's getting big. But this is Wagyu. This is our This is our CFO, our Chief Fund Officer, and he comes to the office every once in a while with me and gets to hang out here. So
everyone say hi and bye to Wagyu. It's good to see him. He's getting so big.
So thanks everybody for joining us. Like we said, join us next Tuesday at noon for TikTok Tuesday, and this Friday for Facebook Friday. Facebook Friday is in Spanish, but it is on Facebook and on TikTok. So it is still using both. We just like the names going Facebook Friday and TikTok Tuesday. So we'll be on both, but go ahead and join us on Friday if you want to hear everything in Spanish, and join us for both if you want to hear it in English and in Spanish. So thank you for joining us. Again, follow us, and that will allow you to know when we go live, when we have special updates. So thanks everybody, and Attorney Raquel, thank you for being with us today as well.
Thank you so much. See you soon.
Okay.